Okay, let me welcome you to our co-founder meeting on February 3rd. We do this every Monday and Thursday of every week. And I'm excited to be with all of you who are with me live. We're growing. Looks like we're getting bigger in our live audience. I appreciate that. We welcome all of you that are brand new. If this is your first co-founder meeting, welcome. All right, so let me share my screen. We played a video before we got started here. So I want to show you what we were played. Let's see here. Okay. This what is pool funding? Okay. So so this video right here, what is pool funding? We played that video.
I didn't expect that applying it just
Oh
once could
boy,
achieve the same
we got
effect
an
as marble
ad.
tiles. One coat is enough to form a surface that is as shiny as
Okay,
Pool funding is
all right, and we're going to break it down. We have the entire script of the video. It's about a minute and a half long. The entire script is right here. So that's the whole thing, guys. So, but it's very clear, very much to the point. I appreciate David here, who made a comment. The more comments, the better. I think we want to support, the tools that we're building for you here. We have some complimentary posters that go along with this. So let me go back here. And here's the first one, the second one. Hey, Brett, would you mind reading this again for me?
Yeah. Make more money doing 2 minutes online activity than what's most people earn doing 8 hours of work.
All right, and we got a couple more examples here. So you got 5 to choose from so far, guys. If you need more, I'll make more. But what we want to do is we want to shout out to the world that the old way of doing things when it comes to the pursuit of having a medium exchange to be able to operate your life, we shouldn't be putting all of our time into that. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. A medium of exchange is just an idea, right? I think if we were to jump off of the planet, go travel the universe, and go look at what other species are doing that are not human beings and what they're doing, I think we might be surprised that some of them don't use money, right? Be like, wow, how do they operate? How do they manage to, you know, you know, measure, value of people putting in whatever, right? And I think what you'll find is that for every idea, there's additional ideas that haven't been thought of. And if you were to go out there and look in the vastness of reality, you might find that there are places that they don't need money, right? Money is not something that they even bother with. There's other ways of operating a large group of people, a civilization, a society, whatever you want to call that. Okay. There's other ways of doing it that intelligent beings can operate. I mean, um, and for it to and for it to be a little bit beyond what we see in the animal kingdom, where it's survival of the fittest only. So we want to be above that, but at the same token, there are other ways. But I'm here to tell you here, it matters, but it's just an idea, a medium of exchange. Why are we putting so much time and energy and effort into that one idea? Human beings are capable of doing so much more than one thing, work, right? We can do all kinds of things. So let's take a look at the wording of this video. Let's just read it. Let's just go through it step by step. I'll see if I can make this bigger somehow. There we go. Nice and big. You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. So it says here in the first sentence, it says pool funding is, right? Because the name of the video is what is pool funding? The answer is pool funding is a digital technology developer. We could have ended the sentence right there with a period. Okay. Because we want to show our place in the reality. What are we doing? Well, we're a developer of digital technology. AI is one of the things that we're developing right now, but we have many other things. We have a website on the internet, so that's digital, so we're developing as we go here, digital technology. Okay. But we want to say that we're more than that. And that's where we're going to get into this idea of what we're dedicated to. We are dedicated to guiding people, okay, out of antiquated methods of providing for themselves. Okay. Look, the whole idea of working in a factory or having a job or working in an office or, these kind of ideas, they fit very well in what they call the industrial age, right? We had an industrial revolution, in the beginning of the 1900s, right? Things like the automobile, the airplane, those things came into be a part of reality, and it helped kick off this idea of an industrial revolution, okay? And the idea of having a job at that particular time, it made a lot of sense. But we've been in the information age for a long time already. It's been since the 1980s, maybe even earlier, that started the information age, and here we are, not too far from 2030, right? So talking 50 years already in the information age, and in the information age, things are going to be clearly different than they were during the industrial age, guys. Okay. So when we talk about outdated or antiquated, okay, so we're serious about it. Okay. So we want to guide people out of antiquated methods of providing for themselves, okay, into the infinite, let's underline that word, the infinite possibilities of creating personal abundance and prosperity within the digital realm. Okay. So there's not just one way to do this. There's going to be many ways of creating that abundance and prosperity. That one sentence, I could have ended the video right there, done. But I wanted to add a little more emphasis. So I went on to say that the costs are far too high for human beings to continue the archaic practice of working an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. I want to pause right there, and I want to talk about that statement right there. The costs are far too high for human beings to continue the archaic practice of working an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. What are the costs? What do you think I had in mind when I was making that statement, guys? What costs am I talking about here?
Stress and anxiety, insecurity.
Okay, so emotional states, being affected, mental states being affected. Okay.
Time, freedom.
Yeah. The cost of your freedom, quite literally, it's a trade-off between, no money and plenty of freedom, and having some money and but feeling a bit like a slave if you're chained to an 8-hour day, 5 day a week thing, right?
The banking system.
Right, ties into the banking system. But let me tell you what I'm really thinking. I'm thinking about divorce. Do you think that divorce might be, something that we go through because the job thing's kind of crazy for most people? Do you think is there a correlation?
Absolutely.
Pursuit of wealth and financial security can really overshadows a lot of people's family lives.
There was a time that, a blue collar worker could provide wealth for his entire family, including his wife, his children, even multiple children. and do quite well, right? And the women didn't have to work in order to balance out, the household, right? And so there's a movie called From Freedom to Fascism. Have you guys ever watched that movie?
No.
Okay. It's a really good movie. The same director that did Trading Places. I don't know if you remember that one with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, Trading Places, but same director.
Excellent movie.
Yeah. Anyway, he it's a documentary, and he basically made it, he brought to light that it was the Rockefeller family that was behind the women's movement. Okay. Now, hey, I'm all for women doing what they want to do. I'm all for that, by the way. But the fact is that there was a hidden agenda that most people were not aware of, and that is, uh, they they wanted to have more people to tax, right? So they're only taxing half the people because only half the people had the money. You know what I'm saying? So by having a women's movement, then they cornered it to the point where how many families could operate without both husband and wife working, right? So in most cases, to operate a family, it both now need to be working in the industrial way of looking at it. That makes sense, guys?
Yes.
So if what you're looking at is you've got to have a job in order to provide for your family, then it's gotten to the point now everything's been whittled down to the point where the wife is working, the husband's working, and and sometimes they don't even see that much of each other, and that can put a strain on the relationship, right? And then it's just really difficult to balance. So I know from personal experience, it can be very challenging. Okay, so I think that's a cost. That to me, that's a real cost because family, such an important thing as far as what it is to be human. You know, I look at family as being like one of the top things of the human experience. You know, and so anything that has a negative impact on that, I'm going to look at it. So what if we didn't have to put so much time and energy in the pursuit of money? Okay. And how would that have a positive impact on families? Do you see the way I'm looking at it? Am I way off base here? You guys tell me, am I?
Oh, no.
And
We're doing way worse today than 2012, and that's just based on one person working. But considering that nowadays it's more often, and it's been for decades, that two people in the family are working, we're doing worse than they are back in the 70s of how much we're working and how little we're making to make our life work, be it a house or a car, insurance. It's ridiculous.
There's
Correct. Exactly.
3 people working out of the home where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly.
when I was growing up, came from a rather large family. I had 9 siblings,
Wow.
and most of us had to work to keep up with the bills for the family.
Wow. And your mother, she didn't work?
No, my mom stayed at home. She was a stay-at-home mom, and my wife, I keep her at home so she doesn't have to work either. I provide for my whole family on my own. But yeah, we keep our costs extremely low by today's standards.
Right. Exactly. So, yep. So it can be done. So you're basically showing evidence that it can be done without both husband and wife working. But
Yeah.
to me, yeah,
But
it puts a real strain on it. And the fact is that if you interview, let's just use Americans. Look, I know we got some Canadians in here, we got some people from other places, but let me just go where I'm from, the US. So if you interview 10 people randomly about work, probably 8 of them would admit to you that they don't like what they're doing. Am I right or wrong about that statement?
You're
100%.
totally right. Totally right.
Okay.
100%.
And
Well-
if they like it, they definitely don't make enough money at it. Like you might like music or being an artist, but how many people that like music and art actually make a good living?
I could speak to that.
Go ahead, Tim. Speak to it.
Can too.
Well, I've been an artist since I was 16 when I first started taking commissions, and it's been hell trying to maintain any kind of consistent income through that, doing the type of art that I want to do. I've
Yeah.
had to drift back and forth between so many genres of art, working with so many different people, and that takes the joy out of it. I don't get to do what I want with my art, right? And then you have to search to find people, so you always got to keep something on the side to make sure you have consistent income coming along.
Exactly. So, look, we were an agrarian age for a long time. You know, some would say thousands of years if you go by certain points of view on history. But there was agrarian. Then we hit this industrial revolution, and things have shot up. You know, because with the invention of machinery and things like that, it allowed us to get more done faster. You know, just think about the tractors in the wheat field compared to a bunch of workers, swinging, what do they call them, sickles, like the angel of death, you know. Um, and so, you know, the Industrial Revolution really, if you look at what happened, look at how much we've accelerated and we've made, you could say, technological progress, among other things, because of the Industrial Revolution. And that now pushed us into the information age, and we're well in the middle of that. So artificial intelligence now being kind of the point of the spear right now, where we're currently sitting. That's where it's taken us to so far, this information age. But imagine, the guy sitting in an air-conditioned tractor going up and down the fields and raking in what might have taken 100 workers to a month, can do in one day. You know what I'm saying? Um, Compared to the 100 workers, by the sweat of their brow, hacking away at the wheat and all the effort that went into doing it by hand before the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so there you can see that there, through development, we've been able to gain something, at a cost of something else, right? But I would say it's an improvement. I'd much rather be sitting in an air-conditioned tractor than be the guy hacking away in the field. Okay, if I had a choice between the two, I'll be the guy in the air-conditioned tractor. But now that we have the internet, communications are light speed. Okay, like I'm communicating in real time. All of you are seeing me move my finger across my screen in real time. Okay, and this is global, happening right now. So that's just an example of how far along we've come in this information age. Okay, there's a whole group of us together here talking right now from all over the world, and so we don't have to put up with certain things anymore if we don't want to. So let me go back to sharing my, the description there. Okay, we'll go back to that. Okay. The costs are far too high for human beings to continue the archaic practice of working an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. Okay, guys, you're not going to have a choice anyway. Okay. Between robotics and AI, all the jobs are going to be gone anyway. Okay. The technology taking over the jobs, guys. It will. I don't care. I don't care what you're thinking of. So just pick a category, you can figure out how technology is going to take it over. Okay. So, of course, the definition of work within this statement, so the one above here, working 8 hours a day, means spending time and energy on things that people would rather not do. Okay? So let me talk to you about that. Okay, hey, cool. Imagine having 24 hours every day where you get to do what you want to do. How about that? That sound good?
Woo!
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm in.
All right. That's what we're talking about. Instead of the commute to and from, I mean, that could be 2 hours of your day right there. When I was in California, it was 3.5, 4 hours a day, depending on traffic, and just to go from one part of California to another to go to my job that I had. The commute is part of that time that's been spent on pursuing that deal. Here's what I'm thinking, guys. I'm thinking that as we start to talk to our grandchildren and we start to tell them stories about, yeah, I had to go out of my house to go make money. Oh, well, really? What was that like? Well, like this one time I had to drive, at least an hour, but sometimes 2 hours, depending on if there's a lot of traffic. I had to drive to and from work, so 1 to 2 hours each direction. And then you're talking to your grandchildren, and they're starting to go, "Wow." They're scratching their head like that, kind of the same way I was scratching my head when my dad would be telling me stories about how he used to walk to school 5 hour. I mean, it was like 5 miles. He used to have to walk 5 miles to go to school and 5 miles to walk back from school. And in the wintertime, there'd be snow, and there were going to be wolves on the trail, and they had to shoo away the wolves. That got me scratching my head. You know what I'm saying? So imagine telling your grandchildren that, hey, you had to commute to go to work to make money,
Wow.
right? The whole
Wow.
idea of a commute would be kind of ridiculous sounding to them, right? And then you tell them, yeah. And then I had to put a whole 8 hours in. And that's a long time. So they gave us an hour break, right, to go take a lunch in the middle of that, right? So technically, I'm at the job site or around the job site for 9 hours, right? And then you'd have this boss guy, like if you're 1 minute late, he would yell at you. If you're 1 minute late, you got some guy who's going to yell at you for being a minute late. Okay. You start telling these stories to your grandchildren, they're going to be scratching their head going, wow, that's terrible. It's going to sound like the snow and the wolves, and it's going to sound like that to them. How horrible it was for you, when, we're going into a time, guys, where the technology is going to provide some relief. And this is the whole point of it anyway. Why develop all this technology if it doesn't provide relief? Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Like I prefer that air conditioned cab of a tractor than hacking away at the wheat field. How about you guys? So, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's continue. All right. So, of course, the definition of work within this statement means spending time and energy on things that people would rather not do. It is not work if you love every minute of what you are doing. If you love it, we call that your passion instead of your work. Fair enough, guys?
Right on.
All right.
Yeah.
What if a 2 minute online activity replaced the need to work an 8 hour day altogether? Life on earth should be more than spending most of our time in pursuit of gathering money. Money is just a medium of exchange. Why, in a high tech world like ours, would we want to spend most of our waking hours in pursuit of gathering a medium of exchange? Pool funding places value on long term relationships and through them makes working 8 hour days obsolete. We are excited to see where this digital realm takes mankind into higher pursuits and greater ways of self-expression. I mean, it's almost a mission statement, guys.
Right
Good
on.
stuff.
To be patented.
Okay.
That needs to be patented.
So watch the video
Love it.
multiple times. And when you guys, the biggest mistake I see some of you guys making as you introduce pool funding to other people is you're too quick to tell everybody, hey, you got to get people to join under you. Okay. You know, that's not very smart, guys, knowing that, before we started this video, we did a survey and I had you put a 1 or a 2 in the chat. Okay. And most of you put 2, which was support. But the question I said was that if you needed a job and you only had 2 available and they both paid exactly the same amount, so you don't have to worry about getting less pay on one or the other. If you choose one or the other, it's going to be exactly the same pay, but one job was sales and the other job was support. So put a 1 if you would choose the sales job and put a 2 if you choose the support job. And most of you chose 2. Only the real salespeople in our group chose 1, right? The only person that would choose a 1 are the people that already see themselves as a salesperson, and they like the idea of being a salesperson. Okay. But everybody else would choose 2. Again, if you go and survey 10 people, you're probably going to get 7 out of 10 that are probably going to choose a 2, maybe 8 out of 10. Okay. Most people would rather, they'd rather do support, which to them feels like there's no pressure. There's no intensity, right? Or ways to disappoint or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of reasons why people had an aversion to sales. Okay. But most people like the idea of support. I mean, for goodness sake, we all have a mother and we all look at our mothers like support, don't we? Right? It's the nurture, the care, the support of our mother. That's why we're all here. So we can all thank our mothers for having that kind of support. We can look to, both mom and dad in many cases for the financial support too, to provide for the family, so there's that. But people want somebody to talk to. People want to have somebody that they can, try to get more clarification, understanding on whatever it is that we're trying to do together. And if you think about the role that most of you play in pool funding, it is a support role. And with paid signups, it's even more so the case, right? So anytime you got some paid signups coming your way, and and that helps you build the team that you need to build, then look, you didn't do much there except for kind of polish that off and complete the process of getting them on track. But then after that, it's just support, ongoing support. Okay. So we need to slow down on, letting people know that we're building teams, right? And let people know that we're supporting teams. Okay? Support team, right? That's what we do. We do team support. So everybody unmute right now and just say the words. We do team support. We do team support.
We do team
support.
We do team support.
We do team support.
I do.
Team.
Yeah, so think of it like that. So instead of team building, let's spend more time talking about we do team support. Yeah, I understand. If someone's asking for permission, you don't have to ask permission to leave. It's open to come and go as you wish. And we're recording this, so feel free to come and go as you need to. Okay, guys. Okay. All right. So anyway, they might have been making a joke because they say permission to leave, sir. I have work. Thanks. So maybe they're kind of playing on the point of this whole meeting today is that when you have to work, right, in order to survive in society today, that's not necessarily a good thing. And the pool funding, we want to be part of the change where in the future we just have a whole different idea about the human experience, right? And work becomes like a much smaller, point in the overall experience of to be human, right? So I think right now it's such a large focus, and it kind of fits right into the whole industrial way of looking at the world, right? So I think that with technology, we can have freedoms that were unimagined in the past. So we can experience things that were beyond our imagination before the technologies ever came to be. Okay, so that's one thing. But having total control over our time, being able to choose how to use that time so that it's customized to your personal tastes, your personal desires, right? So that you don't feel like you're just a box with a bunch of other people, that you're going to be in your own box. You create your own reality the way you want it to be, specialized exactly to you to a T. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. So what if you could earn just as much money in a 2-minute daily activity than what you would in an 8-hour day of work? What about that? How many people would be interested in that? Right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got posters, you got a video, and you got this video as an explanation. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be here to help provide signups for those people that pay for those. Okay. But I by no means, I don't want to discourage anyone from going out there and actually reaching out to people. But when we reach out to talk to other people about pool funding, let's not make it about sales. Let's not make it about recruiting, team building. Let's make it more about an opportunity to do something in a digital way, right? That takes very little time, like 2 minutes, right? And that you could actually make money, right? Just by repeating a simple activity every day. It only takes a couple of minutes, and be part of a larger system that we all support. We support the system, which includes having a team, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we're all about. And so if you craft how you're talking to people in such a way that you understand where they're thinking already, and that you don't trigger them to like object, you know what I'm saying? You got to know, if you start out the conversation, sales, recruiting, whatever, you're going to trigger them, like 7, 8 out of 10 people, guaranteed. So stop doing that. Don't trigger them. Dean and Dina, hello there.
Hey Ace, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good. Hey man, so the other day I was on another podcast and I caught one of them little golden nuggets. You know, sometimes you just catch those little statements that
I
stick.
love it.
And the subject was stop selling and start solving, and your
Yes.
business will 10x. And man, it just really stuck in my head, and I thought that's exactly what we do with pool funding. Is really the problem is daily cash flow, and we have the answer. And as soon as you can figure out how to quit trying to puke all over people and spill everything, just give them the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. Oh my God! Then go help them solve a problem about why they can't buy groceries or gas, and your business would just explode. So I just thought it'd fit in right there. So
Well, here's a problem to solve. 8 or 9 hours away from the place you love to be, anywhere you're home, usually, doing something you don't want to do.
yes,
That's a problem. Okay.
yes, and a lot of people have it.
The majority of Americans have that problem. If they're an adult, they have that
Yes, sir.
problem. There's
Yes,
so
sir.
few Americans that are actually, what do you call, living a passionate life, doing exactly what they love to do for money. they usually just fell into something that paid the bills, and they use their free time to pursue their interests in the things that they're really interested in. Those are their hobbies. So, um, and it's really kind of sad, but it fits into the industrial age, right? So we know what the cause is. The cause is the industrial age, and now we need to move away from that because we've been in the information age now for a while now, haven't we? So how much longer do we have to put up with this industrial age way of thinking? So I love what you're saying. Start solving and stop selling, right? Or stop selling and start solving.
Yes, sir.
You
At
consider the
10X,
idea that most people would love to be able to spend their time doing what they want instead of what they don't want. Solve that problem for them. They can get excited about that.
yep. I agree, brother.
All right, fantastic. Good, excellent input there. Thanks for your contribution there, Dean and Dina. Okay, well, I think that's pretty good. I think we're pretty clear now on the point that I wanted to make today that pool funding is meant to change the world in a very positive way. I hope I've illustrated, how much positivity we can no, I'm just saying it wrong. How big the positive change we're going to make in the world, okay? By helping people have the freedom to spend time on things that they love to do and not have to be bogged down with, spending their time on things that they don't want to do, but feel like they have to do, right? And we can move people into the point of choice in a short period of time, get them to the point where they're collecting $100 a day, $200 a day, and every day, and all they're really doing to keep that going is a 2-minute activity on the internet. Anybody can go in there and click, and they're done. A little 2-minute activity on the internet just to keep that $100 or $200 coming in every single day, and then expand it from there, right? And then on the other hand, over here, create perhaps wealth creation that could be millions upon millions of dollars in wealth creation, while cash flow is really coming in, and it's growing. You know what I'm saying? So you can end up having both the peace of mind that knows that you're building a nest egg for your future, and you're getting paid to do it in cash flow. We're a cash flow system, and so that's what we're all about. So, anybody else want to contribute before I close out the call today? Any other ideas? Nope, we're good. All
Well,
right.
based on the activity of what you said the Rockefellers caused and, women's right to work or whatever, and that many more taxes, because now more than half the people are paying taxes instead of half the people. That's more cars sold and more homes sold, which are big ticket items. Obviously, there's more of everything else sold that a woman typically wouldn't buy if she wasn't working. She wouldn't need a car. And if she were not married, or if she were married, she wouldn't need her own house. So they're selling more houses because now they're either not getting married or they're having separate houses or what have you. I mean, or the divorce. They're causing divorce because of the money problem.
Yeah. Well, again, I think the women's movement was necessary. There was a point in time where it became, clear that it had to happen. But it's just unfortunate that the intent underneath it was, kind of malicious, right? And then, as we continued in this industrial age of looking at the world, it created a trap. They knew exactly what they're doing because these guys, like the Rockefellers and whatnot, they're the ones making decisions that impact whole societies. So they get together with the little Bilderberg groups and their little conspiracy clubs that they're all part of, and they come up with we'll do this, we'll do that, and this is how get people to behave a certain way, and
Totally.
it's just too bad that it kind of made most women feel like they had to work in order to in order to survive, right? And it kind of took the choice away. But again, Tim is standing up and saying, "Hey, just as long as you keep your your lifestyle under control, you can manage to have a happy family with balance and all that, and maybe she doesn't have to work, right, Tim? So
Yeah, I might throw my 2 cents in there on that too, right? Because, like you said, they have to swing the pendulum one way before they can swing it the other way, right? So what happened before the feminist movement and the liberation was, oh, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to go out and do anything. But I've known this my whole life. I grew up, reading old stories, lots of stuff in the Middle Ages, lots of stuff from ancient Rome, and knowing about old ways of living. Women have always been working, but typically they were working with their husbands, right?
right,
So
yeah,
it's like
it was
they
agrarian, yeah, it was running a farm or whatever, yeah,
but even like the blacksmith, if the blacksmith was creating his steel, his wife would be selling it out of the front. Or if the
right,
potter was creating his pottery,
exactly,
his wife
that's
was
right,
selling it in the market, right?
yeah,
So women always had a purpose. They always had something to be working towards to contribute to their family. But then you pull them out of that saying, oh, you don't need to do that. You just need to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of this, that, and the other thing. Then they become extremely bored, feel like they have no purpose because it's been stripped away from them. The man's ego gets built up because he's doing everything. Then you've got something that you can knock and swing back hard the other way.
yeah.
And they call it the feminism movement, which is really funny because there's nothing feminine about it. It's all about masculinizing
It's true.
women.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you and I could go on for ages there just talking about that because, yeah.
There's not enough time for that for sure.
but the bottom line is that I think in many ways, it was a good thing. But on the other hand, anytime you put like you have to do something, I hate that. I hate the idea that you have to do anything, right? Regardless if you're male or female or whatever. If you have to, why? We should really question any kind there's a have to. So
Well,
if you get to do something, that's great. But if you have to do it, that's not so great.
totally with you on that.
Yeah. But I could see where if society was only allowing men to work and women couldn't work, how women could be abused in that situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's a bad thing, right? So
Totally.
yeah, finding that balance, it's tricky business, guys. It's tricky, but we want to see people, reach their goal of happiness regardless, and we're not here, going to take any one side on the politics of it all, because there's always the other side, and they got valid points. You know what I'm saying? So
Can't sell politics without tick, and we all know that ticks are bloodsuckers. So
that's it. That's true. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming to another one of our co-founder meetings, and I hope this helped you to kind of frame how you're going to talk about pool funding when you're talking to anyone, maybe someone that's already on your team or someone that you'd like to have on your team, right? How you talk to them, it matters. And I hope we put the frame together today so that you feel like, you know what? This does make a lot of sense what we're doing. And we complete what we're doing. We get the whole idea in place and running like a machine. The positive impact we're going to have on the world is going to be huge. It's going to be a big, big improvement because we're helping people to see things in a light that it's about what you get to do, not what you have to do. Okay. How about it's about, we could maybe end with that. How about everybody unmute and say, yeah, I want to get to do something, not that I have to do it. So how about everybody say that?
I want to get to do something, not have to do it.
That's it.
I want to get to do something, not have to do it.
Want to get to do something, not have to do it.
absolutely.
All right, great guys. You guys are awesome. I'll go ahead and close out the recording now.